Alrighty, so I've tried to make this video like about 20 times now, and I either am like not giving out enough information or I'm missing information. I keep forgetting about it, so it's because I'm winging these things and I don't actually write anything down. But this is my Magicka sorc PvP build. CP and non-CP, it's still effective. It's small scale, but you can also be in a Zerg. I didn't know how powerful Mage's Wrath was until I started really using a mag sorc, and it is strong. If you just want like a butt ton of killing blows, you can just easily use Mage's Wrath from the back of a Zerg and then just rake in kills. It's amazing. I think it's maybe the strongest like burst ult there is. Like, as a Magicka Nightblade, I don't even think I hit as hard as the Mage's Wrath, and I think it's also due to like Implosion, which is part of the Stormcalling passive. Even though it's 6% of the time, you are dealing a ton of damage to people. So, Magicka sorc. This is why I'm making this video. So, we'll get right into it. So the sets. First off, Engine Guardian. Engine Guardian, we have 1 piece Impen with Magicka enchant, 1 piece Divine's shoulder. So it's heavy armor on the head. I don't have a light piece. Ideally, I would get a light piece for the extra magic recovery, but heavy is not bad. You get that extra little bit of armor. And Engine Guardian, although you don't get to choose the ability and it's completely random, it's very useful. So you get 1 of the 3 resources back, and all 3 resources are helpful to you in like every single situation. Because if you're, as a Magicka toon, when you need to break free from things, dodge roll, block, whatever you're doing, you need stam, and you don't actually have that large of a stam pool, and this replenishes it when using a Magicka ability, which is amazing. Which you can do also with like Dark Exchange or Dark Conversion, whatever the morph is, but this is as you're just using abilities, it's great. So this is a great sustain set, and the little bit of health recovery is nice as well. And when this does pop, you can actually line of sight behind it. So if this stone path here is an enemy and you're using an ability, let's see if I can get it to proc. Nope. Whoops. Okay, so if that's the enemy over there, you can line of sight behind it. And line of sight in PvP is amazing. In PvE, it's not as used as much because you're like facing enemies that just stand there, tank holds aggro, and you aren't hit. But when you're facing a player, you are hit. They are focused on you, and getting line of sight and repositioning yourself is very key in PvP. So if you're able to get behind something and they can't hit you, or they're attacking something else, you can regain resources. You get ult back. You can just get ready to go on the offensive, or just prepare yourself and get more resources back. So that's another reason. I've been in situations where I faced people running Engine Guardian, and I had them so close, but then I couldn't kill them for some reason because they had the Engine Guardian. So then, even though I have them tab targeted, I think tab targeting there's something wrong with it, but that's another discussion. But I still hit the Engine Guardian instead, and they managed to survive. So that's annoying. The next set I have is Seducer, just another sustain set. The way PvP works, in my opinion, is that you have 1 sustain stat, unless you're just going all out, like you're ganking, or you're just tanking. So you have, if you want to be like in the middle, like you need to survive a little bit, especially as a Magicka toon, you have 1 sustain stat. So I guess this only really applies for Magicka toons if you want to play this way. But 1 sustain set and 1 damage set. So our sustain set is Seducer. Seducer, it's all Impen, all Magicka enchants, and all Magicka enchants. It gives you 2 pieces of recovery, 2 set bonuses of recovery, and 1 max Magicka. So the other set I was considering is Alteration Mastery. It's the set that I have on my Magicka Nightblade, but I chose this over that one because we are getting the max Magicka, which affects the tooltip, affects the healing and all of that, but crit also is not that bad on a Magicka sorc. So if you already have Alteration Mastery, go ahead. I just didn't have another set, and I would try it on this one, but the difference is probably minute, so not the end of the world. So 4 pieces of that, and then I have 4 pieces of 5 pieces of Destruction Mastery. So I'll switch to bars. There we go. So Destruction Mastery. You get this one from VDSA. Oh yeah, Seducer comes from crafting. You can craft it. It's only 3 traits to craft. Super easy to get, which is why I'm running it. And Destruction Mastery comes from where is it? Dragonstar Arena. And you can get it on normal. You can buy all of this stuff from guild stores as well. Very easy to obtain as well. Oh, and Engine Guardian comes from Darkshade Caverns 2. And then Shoulders just from the chest. So just a complete RNG there. But Destruction Mastery, very easy to obtain. And we have all weapon damage. Sorry, spell damage. And then we have 1 piece that's over on the body. Gloves, Divines. And then Destruction Mastery we have as the staff. Obviously you want a Destro staff for this set. And the reason why I went with Destruction Mastery over Necropotence, because Magicka sorcs do have the pet, is because in PvP a lot of people focus pets, or a lot of people say they focus pets. I focus pets in the past, but I don't know if it's really true. But it could be true. And if you don't have a pet up, then it's just not as effective. So I'd rather always have this on my offensive bar than having to worry about your pet. Like if you have a matriarch or something and you need to pop off a heal but it's not summoned, that could be the death. That mistake costs you your life for PvP. This is why I just went with this instead. And then also I have more room on my bar because you have to double slot. So you're losing 2 ability slots, and that's just too much. And PvP, I've also noticed that when you are in stealth, sometimes your pets aren't in stealth, and then people can actually see where you are, and then you can just use like inner light. They can use like detection pot, and just generally find you a lot easier than is normal. And right now I have a lightning staff, but I would actually get a Destro staff with a shock enchant, because Magicka sorcs have Magicka tunes have built-in shock damage, and shock damage, it increases by, what is it? Is it 5%? And that's already built in for you. So the reason why I'd go with an Inferno staff over lightning is because of the one ability we're using from the Destro staff line, which I'll go into and explain. But Inferno, in my opinion, is better. Burning does really good damage now, and then I would put the shock enchant on it just to do the extra little bit of shock damage. But this is a great placeholder right now, and I just don't want to go buy an Inferno staff currently. And the last piece we have is Maelstrom's Resto staff. So Resto staff, great little heal. You can do like little dot heals heal over times for your group or just people in your vicinity. And I have a weapon damage on that because when you are PvPing, you are bar swapping a lot. You're hitting light attacks from everything. And if you happen to proc it, that's great. You get your spell damage, more heals, more damage output, all of that. So that's the whole set. If you don't have a Maelstrom staff, Resto staff, you can just get the 5th piece of Seducer. Because Seducer, then all of your abilities on your back bar will all be reduced by 8%. And that's amazing too, instead of getting the heal. So we will now go into the stats. So all attribute points into max Magicka, obviously, and then we have 37k max Magicka, 14k health, 9k stam. So 14k does not look like a lot of health. 14k does look really low, but in PvP zones you are boosted up another 5k health, which is 19, and it's not the end of the world. So, and you're also going to be using a lot of shields and then buffs as well to reduce the amount of damage incoming to you. So effectively you have a lot more health in the end with all your shields. So that's great. So spell damage, even I just drank a potion, so that was my bad. But it's actually like just at about 2k. So 2k spell damage is fine because we are getting the proc from Maelstrom Resto Staff, bumping it up another little bit. And then you saw with the pot, you also get that up to, well, 2.4k. So 2.4k is fine, and then so it'll be close to around 3k, and that's a fine amount of spell damage to be at. And then Magicka Recovery. So Magicka Recovery is at, right now, 2,000, well, 2k. You want to have it around 2k on both your bars. 2k is a healthy amount of Magicka where you can spam things, get Magicka back from your heavy attacks, light attacks, all that sort of stuff. And from pots as well, you can get Magicka back. And then we also have other abilities that give us Magicka back, such as the Maelstrom Staff when we are using mutagen, and then the shields, which I'll go into. And everything else sits at, looks like it's low, but when you're fully buffed, you actually do a lot of damage, which is nice. And now we'll go into the ability bar. So front bar with the Destro Staff, we have first Crystal Frag. So Crystal Frags was the last ability I decided to actually use, because I didn't know, well, I did testing and I debated between many things. So first was Force Pulse. Lots of Magicka sorcs use Force Pulse. And the other thing was Elemental Drain. I love running Elemental Drain because it's like a free ability. You can just spam it on people, reduces their resistances, and then you can also makes you hit them a lot harder. But I've eventually landed on Crystal Frags. I didn't really want to use Crystal Frags because it doesn't do the stun anymore, but it still does a great amount of damage. So Crystal Frags does, and you can proc it well just using other abilities that you're using. So even if you're escaping and they're getting close to you, you can also just throw Crystal Frags, do a little bit of damage, just do that extra little bit of damage here and there. So that's nice. And the other thing is also you get Dark Magic. So the exploitation, when you do have, so this is our only skill we're using right now for the Dark Magic skill tree, and it gives us minor crit, and crit is important as a sorc because we are using things like Power Surge and then also mutagen, where crit plays a part into our healing and Magicka return. And when I actually get Dark Magic leveled, it'll actually last longer, and you also gave minor crit to your allies, so that's also very useful if you are in a small group or even in a Zerg. Next we have Streak, just the standard get the fuck out of here skill, but it can also be used in a dual small scale where you can stun people. Stunning people allows you to lower their defenses, and when their defenses are lowered and they can't actually do anything like put up a shield, dodge roll, any of that, you can do a lot more damage to them, so that's very important. But if you are getting away, you have to also keep in mind that with every 4 seconds it'll increase the cost of Magicka, so you can't spam this forever. Next we have Haunting Curse. Haunting Curse, just the standard skill that sorcs use for just the dot burst damage over time. Very nice to have, just annoying when you're fighting against. Oh, and the other reason why I have Crystal Frags is also because of Storm Calling. So the Expert Mage, so you gain an extra 2% spell damage. So on top of the extra crit and the spell damage, Crystal Frags was the obvious choice. Next we have Shock Reach. So I switched this from Shock Clench, because Shock Clench is much, I think it's 17 meters, and that just, when you're PvPing and you see how short 17 meters is, it's like, oh, it's just so annoying. And this is where Flame Reach would actually be better. It looks cool too, but when you are throwing the Flame Reach, you're applying burning to them, and then they also knock back the enemy as well. So I think the overall damage is actually higher, just based off anecdotal experiences. But Shock Reach is a great place, because what you do need to do is also stun, because you also are missing the Crystal Frag stun. Crystal Frags doesn't stun anymore in this patch. And the thing with Shock Reach is also you control the stun. When you can control the stun instead of relying on the Crystal Frag proc, then you can time everything together. So you can sort of time, like if you only have to control the Haunting Curse and then you know it's about to go off, You can stun them at the same time. You can use your ult at the same time. You can execute all together at once to do a ton of damage all at once. Instead of waiting for the crystal frag proc and then you don't know when it's coming and then you don't have your ult up or something, this way you can control it, which is very nice. Lastly, Mage's Wrath. Obviously, just for the execute. What else are you going to run for an execute? And next we have Dawnbreaker. I am so close to getting this leveled. So, Dawnbreaker, when you do get it leveled, morph it to Smiting. Just another stun to have. You don't need to have extra weapon damage as a Magicka tune, so Flawless Dawnbreaker would be useless. Smiting is what you're going for, and they actually, well, apparently they fixed it where they can't dodge roll the stun anymore, but I don't know if that's really true. And it does a decent amount of damage as well, so this can be used if people are coming towards you in like a narrowed path, like they're all bottlenecked toward you, very nice to have, or just in duels as well. Now on the back bar, so the back bar is the resto staff bar. First we have Harness Magicka. I always run Harness Magicka on all of my Magicka tunes for PvP and even for PvE actually. Just a great all-around ability to have. Get Magicka back, great shield, nothing more to say about that. Then we have Power Surge, obviously over Crit Surge because we are Magicka and we do want that spell damage instead of just getting the extra bit of heals. And this is where you replace Structured Entropy or Degeneration or whatever, something like that. Or Pots even, because you can just use this, and then it also, when you are dealing crit strikes, you are getting healed. This is where the crit factors in, which is why we chose Crystal Frags, to get that little bit of extra crit. And next we have Mutagen. So Mutagen, great heal over time, and because we have the Maelstrom Staff, we're using this. In place of this, you could run Steadfast or Healing Ward, so you can stack 4 shields and just have an insane amount of shields. And this is where, if you have that many shields, you could be running something like Infernal Guardian here instead. Or if you want to, instead of having this sustain set, and you feel like you can live enough, or like you don't have a problem with sustain of like health, stam, Magicka, you could run a damage thing here like Slimecraw, for example. Or if you want more resistances, you could go with like Chudan's. No, Chudan's not effective. What is it? Pirate Skeleton there or something like that. But that's totally up to you. So Mutagen removes a harmful effect as well. Why is my mouse doing that? And also get that little burst heal, nice little heal over time as well. And because we're also having the Resto Staff, you get the, when it does crit, which it eventually will, you get Magicka back, also very nice. Next, Empowered Ward. So I chose Empowered Ward over Hardened Ward. Hardened Ward only increases it by a little bit, your shield. And Empowered Ward gives you Magicka Recovery back. Magicka Recovery back is very nice to have in PvP. You get, and it also gives it to your allies. Allies are using Magicka as well, and they can always benefit from a little bit of extra Magicka recovery. So overall, great skill, good shield, so you can stack 2 shields. Lastly, we just have Boundless Storm, the Magicka version instead of Hurricane, and Boundless Storm gives you a small little dot if they're within range, but also giving you all the major resistances, which is what we need. Because our resistances are low, you can stack all your buff bar. So this is your buff bar, where you stack all of this together, and you can survive quite a while with all of that. And lastly, we have Suppression Field. So instead of running Suppression Field, I would recommend running a Resto ult. I believe it's Light's Champion, where you get Major Force and you get Major Protection. You can use this offensively and defensively, and it's just an amazing heal as well. You can heal your group mates, so you can also do a lot of stuff with the Resto ult. Suppression Field's good too. You can like negate people completely when they are running in, charging in, stacking ults, that sort of thing, or just to be annoying. And you can just throw it on there, they have to escape, especially Magicka tunes. That's also nice to have a counter with. So you want to have one offensive ult and then one defensive ult, and that's what we have right now. And lastly, before I forget, our food and Mundus Stone. So we're running Atronach right now for the recovery. Just pushes us over Magicka recovery of the 2k threshold that I like to stay at. And we also are running Witch Mother's Brew, Potent Brew. Witch Mother's Potent Brew is good if you don't have a lot of money to spend, like me, where I have 100k among 10 tunes. But if you have money to spend for Perfect Row, you can use this. And this is like real min-maxing, because you're getting a little bit of extra health. I think it's like 600 or something like that. You're getting some extra bit of extra bit of Magicka, and you're getting health recovery as well, instead of just Magicka health and then magic recovery. And it's more than Witch Mother's. So this one is the most optimal food to run. I did try it out, as you can see, but it's expensive to use. The good thing is that it lasts for 2 hours. But if you're poor, just run Witch Mother's Brew. Great PvE and PvP food. And I believe that is the whole video. So, thanks for watching. Oh, the CP setup. Almost forgot. So, I'll just quickly go over all of these. Actually, let's just do this instead. I don't like doing this because it looks so messy, but I don't know if you can see that either, so we'll just switch to this actually. So I'll just quickly skim over all of this, and you can see where I have everything slotted. I would actually put more into break free and take more out of here, or even Magicka recovery, because our Magicka recovery is fine. Maybe put some more into here and here, but honestly it's fine. A little bit into all of these. You don't really need... this is a fine amount to have. Never mind. Stuff. Oh, this is left over from like PvE. Ironclad. So this is a little low. I would put some more into Ironclad instead. Yeah, take some out of like light armor focus. Put some into Ironclad. Stuff like that. So damage shields. So that's the whole build. And thanks for watching. And I hope this helps you in PvP. Oh, what pots we're running. Sorry. Oh my goodness. So these are the pots, just spell power pots right now, but I would actually recommend getting the one that gives you crit and movability, max Magicka back. That one is the most ideal for Magicka sorcs. Because the movability helps a lot, because you are getting hit with all this sort of stuff all the time. Alrighty, so that's the video for sure now. And I hope this helps you with Magicka sorcs in PvP. Feel free to ask any questions and stuff like that. Thanks for watching.